The galaxy was vast, ancient, and filled with beings that had walked its stars for eons. Among them were the Vrgoths, a ruthless species of interstellar hunters. They were apex predators, towering, muscular beasts who thrived on conquest and saw themselves as the pinnacle of strength in the universe. To them, other species were nothing more than pathetic prey weaklings to be toyed with and consumed. Their worth measured only by how well they struggled before their inevitable end. For millennia, the Vrgoths had hunted across the galaxy, selecting the most worthy species for their blood sports. Gladiator arenas on their homeworld, Gurok, were filled with the screams of those they had captured, warriors from countless worlds forced to fight each other or, worse, face the Vrgoths themselves. And in all those millennia, no species had ever stood a chance. Then, one day, the Vrgoths discovered Earth. Humans were a curiosity to them at first. They'd never heard of Earth before, and its location was in a relatively quiet sector of the galaxy. The humans themselves, with their soft flesh, lack of claws, and tiny stature compared to the hulking Vrgoths, seemed like the weakest species they had ever encountered. The Vrgoth scouts who observed Earth from orbit scoffed. Pathetic prey, they said. These creatures won't even be worth the hunt. So, with little fanfare, the Vrgoths sent a raiding ship to Earth, expecting to capture a handful of humans and return them to Gurok's gladiatorial pits for sport. They anticipated no resistance after all. They had hunted far stronger species than these fragile bipes without difficulty. The Vrgoth warship broke through Earth's atmosphere one dark night, its enormous shadow sweeping over the landscape as it descended. They landed in a remote area, planning to snatch humans in their sleep and leave before anyone even noticed. It should have been easy, but what happened next would shake the very foundation of the Vrgoth Empire. The humans fought back, not just with panic and fear, as other species had before them, but with organized, calculated precision. Military forces were scrambled within minutes, and the Vrgoths found themselves under heavy fire. Their towering forms were strong, their armor nearly impenetrable, but they weren't prepared for the tenacity of Earth's defenders. Human soldiers moved like shadows, hitting fast and hard, disappearing before the Vrgoths could retaliate. The humans weren't prey, they were predators, strategic and relentless. The Vrgoths, who had never known defeat, were taken aback. They had expected to walk through the human settlement with ease, but instead, they were being driven back. For the first time in their long history, the mighty hunters were struggling. In the midst of the battle, a Vrgoth commander, Tarlok, managed to capture a human officer, Captain Sarah Jacobs. Bound in chains, she was brought before Tarlok in the heart of the warship's command center, where the towering alien looked down at her with contempt. "Your kind are fools," Tarlok growled. "You should have run. You cannot defeat us. No species can. You are nothing but prey." But Captain Jacobs, bloodied but unbroken, looked up at him and smiled. "You don't understand who you're dealing with, do you?" Tarlok sneered, leaning closer. "You are fragile, weak, a pathetic excuse for a species." Sarah's smile widened. "We're from Earth." Tarlok's brow furrowed. He had never heard of Earth before. "And why does that matter, little human?" "Because," she said, her voice hardening, "on Earth, we don't just survive, we dominate. We fought everything this planet has thrown at you as beasts 10 times our size, diseases that wiped out entire populations, and even each other in wars that nearly destroyed us. We adapt, we overcome, and we thrive in the most hostile environments imaginable. And we didn't need claws or fangs to do it. You think you're the apex predators here. You have no idea what we're capable of." Tarlok recoiled, unsure for the first time in his life. The humans were supposed to be prey, weak, scared, easy targets, but there was something in this human's eyes, something terrifying. They weren't afraid, and that made them dangerous. Back on the battlefield, the tide was turning. The Vrgoths, despite their size and strength, were being outmaneuvered. Human artillery, drones, and tactical strikes targeted their weaknesses. The humans didn't rely on brute force-used intelligence, teamwork, and overwhelming firepower. They fought with a ferocity that the Vrgoths had never encountered before. The Vrgoths began to fall, one after another, until the great warship that had once cast its shadow over the Earth was overrun. Human forces stormed the vessel, reclaiming their captured comrades and driving the Vrgoths back. In the final moments of the battle, Tarlock himself was subdued, brought to his knees before Captain Jacobs. "You are wrong," she said, standing over the defeated Vergarth. "We're not your prey, and this isn't your hunting ground, it's ours." With that, the Vergarths were driven from Earth, retreating to the far reaches of the galaxy, humiliated and shaken. Their empire, which had stood unchallenged for millennia, now trembled. Word of the human victory spread quickly. Other species, long oppressed by the Vergarths, began to rise up, inspired by Earth's defiance. Back on Guruk, the Vergarth leadership was in chaos. They had underestimated the immense beings they had once considered too insignificant to even remember. But now, the name of Earth was spoken with both fear and respect throughout the galaxy. The humans had shown that they weren't prey, they were predators, fierce and cunning, capable of turning the tables on even the most powerful of foes. And as the Vergarths licked their wounds, they knew one thing for certain: they would never make the mistake of underestimating humanity again. Because humans weren't just another species, they were survivors, warriors forged in the fires of their own world. And now that the galaxy knew who they were, Earth's reputation as a force to be reckoned with was cemented forever. They had called humans pathetic prey. In the aftermath of the Vergarths' defeat on Earth, the galaxy was left reeling. For centuries, the Vergarths had been considered unstoppable. Their warships, their technology, their brutal tactics had been the terror of the stars. But the humans, these so-called pathetic prey, had turned the tables in a way no one had ever imagined. The ripple effect of the Vergarths' defeat spread rapidly. On distant planets, species long subjugated by the hunters began to rise in rebellion. Emboldened by the news that Earth, a backwater planet they had never even heard of, had managed to repel the galaxy's greatest predators, the whispers of humans from Earth reached every corner of the galaxy. Their resilience, their unpredictability, their ability to overcome overwhelming odds made them the stuff of legend. The Galactic Alliance, a loosely organized group of planets that had existed under the shadow of the Vergarths for centuries, called an emergency council meeting. Leaders from down scenes of worlds gathered, desperate to understand how a species as unremarkable as humans could achieve what none of them had dared even hope for. At the center of the meeting stood Ambassador Kaldar, a representative of one of the Alliance's more advanced species, the Zalori. He looked over the gathered delegates, his expression grave. "The humans are different," Kaldar said, his voice echoing through the council chamber. "We've observed them for some time now. Though our surveillance was limited, we assumed they were of little consequence, primitive, divided, but we were wrong." A holographic display flickered to life, showing images of Earth's historic footage of humans fighting through brutal wars, surviving natural disasters, rebuilding civilizations after every collapse. Scenes of triumph, ingenuity, and sheer determination played out before the council's eyes. "They're not like other species," Kaldar continued. "They don't give up, they don't bow down, even when faced with forces far beyond their understanding. They adapt, they evolve, and they learn." There was silence in the room as the council absorbed this information. The footage shifted, showing the battle against the Vergarths on Earth. Human forces, using guerrilla tactics, deploying advanced weaponry, outsmarting the Vergarth warriors at every turn. "We've made a grave error in underestimating them," Kaldar said quietly. "Us may be small, but the humans are not prey. They are a force that could reshape the balance of power in the galaxy." Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Sarah Jacobs was becoming an unexpected hero. She had been at the heart of the fight against the Vergarths, and her unyielding defiance had become a symbol of humanity's strength. The world was celebrating, but Sarah wasn't basking in the glory. She knew that this victory was only the beginning. The Vergarths had retreated, but they weren't gone for good. And more than that, the rest of the galaxy now knew about Earth. The secrecy that had protected humanity for so long was shattered. Now, the eyes of the galaxy were upon them. Earth's leaders scrambled to prepare. Defense systems were being upgraded. Alliances with other species were being considered, and the world's militaries were placed on high alert. The humans knew they had made powerful enemies, and there was no telling when they might strike again. Sarah Saturday in a debriefing room, surrounded by high-ranking officials and military personnel. Across from her Saturday, General Marcus Hale, the leader of Earth's newly formed Interstellar Defense Command. "You're a hero, Captain," General Hale said, his voice gruff but respectful. You and your team saved Earth. Sarah shook her head. We were lucky, General. The Vrgoths underestimated us. They won't make that mistake again. Hale nodded. That's why we need to be ready for whatever comes next. The galaxy knows about us now, and if the Vrgoths come back or worse, if others see us as a threat, we'll need to defend ourselves on a much larger scale. We can just wait for them to come to us, Sarah said firmly. We need to take the fight to them. The room fell silent. General Hale raised an eyebrow. Are you suggesting an offensive? Sarah leaned forward, her eyes filled with determination. I'm suggesting we send a message. Earth isn't just going to sit back and wait for the next attack. We need to show the galaxy that if they come for us, we'll hit back, hard. Hale looked at her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. What do you propose? We take the fight to Garak, Sarah said, her voice resolute. We hit the Vrgoths on their home turf, show them, and the rest of the galaxy, that we're not prey, we're predators. The room erupted into murmurs. Attacking the Vrgoths on Garak, their heavily fortified homeworld, sounded like a suicide mission, but Sarah knew that waiting for the next wave of Vrgoth ships would be far worse. Captain, you're talking about a full-scale war, Hale said cautiously. Sarah's eyes burned with intensity. They already declared war when they came to our planet. This is just our response. After a long pause, General Hale nodded. We'll need to plan this carefully. We'll gather intel, assemble a strike force, and we'll send a message. The following months were a whirlwind of preparation. Earth's brightest minds worked around the clock to develop new technology, studying the Vrgoths' weaknesses, crafting strategies that would turn the tables once again, and across the galaxy, rumors spread humans were preparing for war. When the day finally came, Sarah stood at the helm of a fleet of newly built human warships. The Earth Coalition fleet was small compared to the armadas of the galaxy's superpowers, but it was packed with innovations that had never been seen before: stealth systems, advanced weaponry, most importantly, the indomitable human spirit. The fleet slipped through hyperspace, heading straight for Garak. As they approached the Vrgoth homeworld, alarms blared across the planet. The Vrgoths were caught off guard. They had expected humans to cower after the initial raid, to hide in fear, but here they were, coming straight for the heart of the Vrgoth Empire. The battle that followed was nothing short of legendary. Human ships, outnumbered but not outmatched, danced through Vrgoth defenses with tactical precision. Sarah led the charge, coordinating strikes that hit the Vrgoth fortifications where they were weakest.